If you have ever unrolled a standard yoga mat, looked down at the floor, and felt that immediate spike of anxiety about whether you would be able to get back up, you are not alone. Standard yoga gear is designed for a 28-year-old who can drop into a split without warming up. It is not designed for a 65-year-old with healthy, realistic joints who simply wants the proven benefits of yoga without the added risk that poorly designed gear creates. And that is a significant problem, because the research on yoga for older adults is genuinely compelling. Studies published in the journals of gerontology have found that a consistent yoga practice reduces fall risk, improves balance scores, lowers blood pressure, and reduces chronic pain markers in adults over 65. But none of those outcomes are accessible if the first thing yoga asks you to do is lower yourself onto a thin, slippery mat 6 inches off the floor and then hope for the best. Today, I am walking you through the 3 pieces of yoga gear that change everything for seniors, the tools that allow you to access the full benefits of yoga safely, comfortably, and with complete confidence. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you never miss our evidence-based movement protocols for thriving after 65. Standard yoga gear fails seniors in 3 specific, predictable ways. The first failure is floor height. A standard yoga mat is between 3 and 6 millimeters thick, which means you are functionally exercising on the floor. For adults over 65, the movement of getting from standing to the ground and back up. The second failure is grip. Standard PVC yoga mats are designed to grip a clean studio floor in a climate-controlled room. They do not grip well on the variable surfaces of a home environment, carpet edges, hardwood, tile, and they provide essentially no grip benefit when warm or slightly damp. For seniors, a slippery mat surface is not just inconvenient, it is a fall risk in the middle of the practice itself. The third failure is the chair. Chair yoga is one of the most evidence-backed modifications available to older adults, and it is routinely practiced on standard folding chairs that flex, tip, and were never designed to hold a person doing a standing forward fold with their hands on the armrests. The right gear does not lower the bar, it raises the ceiling of what is safely possible. Let me start with the piece of equipment that makes the widest range of yoga accessible to seniors, regardless of their current flexibility or balance: the yoga chair. Not every chair works, and the wrong chair creates exactly the risk you are trying to avoid. Here is what you need. First, a completely stable, no-flex steel or heavy-duty aluminum frame. The moment a chair wobbles when you press into the armrests, it has failed at its primary job. Second, non-slip rubber feet. Not plastic tips, but wide rubber contact pads that grip hardwood, tile, and light carpet equally. Third, a flat, firm seat. Padded seats are comfortable for sitting, but they create an unstable base for any pose where you are pressing your weight into the seat edge. Fourth, armrests positioned at elbow height when seated. These are your balance support system, your weight-bearing assist for sitting and standing, and your prop for half a dozen supported poses. The yoga chair on screen is specifically designed for adaptive yoga practice. It is not a standard folding chair modified for the purpose. It was built from the ground up with a weight capacity and stability rating appropriate for active use. Scan the QR code on screen now, or check the link in the description. Here is why the chair is not a compromise. It is a feature. Every pose in a standard yoga sequence has a chair-adapted variation that delivers equivalent muscular activation and comparable balance training. Chair-assisted Warrior 2 builds hip abductor strength and trains the same proprioceptive pathways as the full standing version, with your hand available on the armrest as a safety anchor rather than a crutch. Chair-assisted forward folds with hands on the seat decompress the lumbar spine with zero risk of losing your balance mid-movement. Seated cat-cow performed on the front edge of the chair activates the exact same spinal segment sequence as the mat version without requiring you to load your wrists on the floor, which is one of the most common pain points for adults with osteoarthritis or carpal tunnel. The research is specific. A 2016 study in the Journal of Gerontological Nursing found that chair yoga participants showed significant improvements in pain, fatigue, and physical function compared to non-exercising controls, with a safety record that is essentially perfect. 0 falls recorded, 0 injuries, because the equipment was designed to prevent them. The chair does not limit the practice, it liberates it. And for adults who have been avoiding yoga specifically because of balance concerns, the chair removes the single biggest barrier between intention and consistency. The second essential piece of gear is a yoga mat, specifically engineered for the biomechanical reality of bodies over 65. The specifications matter far more than the brand. Thickness is your first variable. Standard yoga mats are 3 to 4 millimeters, designed for practitioners who want to feel the floor for balance cues. Seniors need a minimum of 6 millimeters, and 8 to 10 millimeters is ideal for any practitioner with knee or hip sensitivity. This difference sounds minor until you perform a low lunge on a 3 millimeter mat, and then perform the identical pose on an 8 millimeter mat. The joint pressure differential is significant and immediately noticeable. Texture is your second variable. You want a high-traction, open-cell foam or natural rubber surface that grips immediately when your palm or foot makes contact, even if your hands are slightly warm or damp. Avoid smooth-surface PVC mats, which provide grip only when perfectly dry and cool, and fail exactly when you need them most. Third, mat width. Standard mats are 61 centimeters wide, designed for the shoulder width of a young adult. Look for a mat that is at least 66 centimeters, and ideally 72 or wider, so your feet have genuine stability room when hip-width stance is required. The mat on screen meets all 3 specifications. Link in the description below. I want to address the specific challenge that stops more adults over 65 from starting a yoga practice than almost anything else: getting up from the floor. The statistics are worth knowing. Research has found that adults over 70 who cannot rise from the floor without using their hands score significantly lower on longevity and functional independence metrics, not because floor rising is inherently life-determining, but because it is a reliable indicator of the leg strength, balance, and joint mobility that determine long-term independence. A thicker mat provides a meaningful mechanical advantage here. Less compression on your joints during kneeling positions means less pain, which means less urgency to rush the transition back to standing. But technique matters more than equipment. The safest floor exit sequence has 4 steps. Roll to your side, press to kneeling, bring one foot forward so you are in a half-kneeling position, then press both hands on your front thigh to drive yourself to standing. Rehearse this sequence before each mat session until it is automatic. And if the floor feels unstable or painful at any point, honor that signal without judgment. Chair yoga is not a modified version of real yoga for people who cannot manage the real thing. Chair yoga is real yoga, practiced with the intelligent risk management that experience earns. That is not a limitation. That is wisdom. The third piece of gear is the most affordable, the most frequently overlooked, and it may deliver the highest immediate impact on your safety during practice: non-slip yoga grip socks. Standard socks are actively dangerous on a yoga mat. The smooth fabric surface creates a low-friction interface between your foot and the mat that makes your foot want to slide the moment you shift your weight. Non-slip yoga socks with silicone grip pads on the sole solve this in 2 ways simultaneously. First, they mechanically prevent sliding. The silicone dots grip the mat surface the same way a bare foot would, but with consistent coverage across your heel and forefoot that does not depend on the mat surface being perfectly dry or cool. Second, and this is the part that gets overlooked, they solve the cold floor and hygiene problem that makes many seniors reluctant to practice barefoot at home. No cold feet, no hard floor pressure on the heel during standing poses, no concerns about mat cleanliness. The grip socks I recommend have full toe coverage, silicone grip in a pattern engineered for the heel and forefoot where your weight actually loads during yoga poses, and a non-binding cuff that does not restrict circulation during extended seated or kneeling work. For the cost of a cup of coffee, this is the highest return investment in your yoga safety toolkit. The link is in the description, and the QR code is live on screen right now. Let me show you how these 3 tools work together in a complete, safe, senior-adapted yoga practice. You begin seated in your yoga chair for a 5-minute grounding sequence. Seated cat-cow, neck rolls, gentle shoulder circles. Your chair's stability gives you complete freedom to close your eyes and focus entirely on your breath. You transition to standing poses, warrior variations, standing side bends, modified tree pose, with your chair available as a balance anchor whenever your body asks for it. Your grip socks eliminate every concern about your feet on any surface. When you move to your mat for seated or supine work, forward folds, gentle twists, supported bridge, your thick, high-traction mat gives your joints the cushioning they need and your hands the grip they need for safe floor transitions. The 3 products work as a system. The chair expands what is accessible. The mat makes the floor safe. The socks make every surface a non-slip platform you can trust. Together, they remove the three most common barriers that stop seniors from building a consistent yoga practice: anxiety about falling, joint pain during transitions, and fear of floor work. When the barriers disappear, the practice becomes sustainable, and a consistent yoga practice at 65 is one of the most evidence-backed investments in your functional independence for the next 2 decades. If this video gave you clarity on what gear you actually need, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. Drop a comment below telling me what your biggest hesitation about yoga has been. I read every single one. Here are the 3 products that complete your senior yoga toolkit. On the left, the yoga chair, stable steel frame, non-slip rubber feet, armrests at the right height, weight rated for active yoga use. In the center, the senior yoga mat, 8 to 10 millimeters thick, high traction surface, extra wide for real stability room in every pose. And on the right, the non-slip yoga grip socks, silicone dots across the full sole, toe coverage, non-binding cuff. All 3 links are in the description below and pinned in the comments. Scan the QR codes on screen right now to go directly to each product on Amazon. If this video gave you a clearer picture of how to practice yoga safely and confidently after 65, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. Drop a comment below telling me what your biggest hesitation about starting yoga has been. I read every single one. Until next time, practice safely, move every day, and know that every pose you do is an investment in the next 20 years of your independence.